All right, well, for my 70s revival piece, I decided to do an event poster for the Chicago History Museum. And they put on a event exhibit every year. It's called Reflect. So I just decided to make an event poster for them. And I wanted to keep my illustration very simplistic, with the glasses being the main focus. And all the reflections from like the major things that happened throughout the whole decade are in the glasses. And then I have keywords on the side that say Reflect, 3rd Annual Retrospective Chicago History Museum, and then the date that it runs through. And at the bottom there's a memorable line of text that says, "A look at the past from the eyes of the future." So, and I also liked how everything is positioned. I didn't want it to be so boring and centered, so I decided to just make it off balance, give it more eye-catching. So people, like the glasses are supposed to be kind of crowded, so you can actually be drawn into the glasses and want to see what the event's actually about. So I hope you like it.
The first thing that popped off to me about this is you succeeded in doing something this week that you didn't even mention, that you pointed out last week, which is your typography.
Yeah.
I think it's not perfect, but it certainly calls that 70s poster style typography, and I definitely respect that. I like the overall execution of this piece, with the possible exception of the way that the imagery in the sunglasses is handled. I think that being photographic kind of throws me off a bit. But that being said, I think it's interesting that you chose to put, that content in there that actually does say something about the 70s. I also think conceptually the idea of approaching this exhibit, which happens today and has to do with the 70s, I think that was an interesting way to do that. I guess that's about what I would say.
Thanks, Carl. That sounds like exactly what you would say.
If I were, a judge in a competition,
if I were
and I was
like
looking at that.
Now. Kate?
Well, you seem a lot more relaxed this week, and I can tell that you're growing in that area. I like the idea of coming up with an event that really talks about the concept of reflections, and I think you did a good job of showing a reflection in the poster. I see the typography keeps coming back in your pieces here. I'm not sure. I see that it's a kind of type that we've seen a lot in these 70s type posters. I feel like it's a little bit overdone for me, because still it's the main content of the poster. Like, there's important information there that I need to know about, and it does take me a while to get all of that important information. And in a poster, I think that the information needs to come at you pretty quick, because who knows where you're running by and seeing this, or how many split seconds you have to get all that information across to somebody. So it's kind of like a little bit too warped for me, warped type to begin with, because that 70s type kind of has that look to it. So for me, I'd like it to be a little bit more clear, and so I can know where I'm supposed to go and what I'm supposed to be doing without having to really decode that message there. And then on the opposite end of that, I think that the illustration on the left side of the face is a little bit not quite done enough. I think as much as I appreciate clean design, I think there's not quite enough there to balance with everything that you have going on with the type. And so maybe you could push the illustration a little bit further, maybe get a little bit more detail in there, or a little more depth, because the illustration, the face is a little bit flat to me. But great job with the concept and presenting yourself, and I think that you're already growing, and hopefully we see you back again next week.
All right. Well, more comfortable. That's good. Charles?
Holy Photoshop. The sunglasses, it's just, there's a lot going on in there. It's hard for me to see anything. And I'm seeing that from a lot of the different people that are a lot of the different contestants' artwork here in the last 2 weeks. I'm not in love with what goes on with all the different mixing and matching of images. That said, I commend you, and I think you did a good job with the typography. I can't read retrospective. I think that's retrospective, but I really like how you've celebrated what is 70s type, and I think you did it rather faithfully. I don't think the bottom type succeeds as well there. Overall, good craft. I think the piece functions. I agree with Kate that the face it's just somehow, it's really exerting itself at taking up 75% of the poster, but it's probably the weakest portion, so a little disappointed there. And then last thing is, I'm assuming this is a poster, and if it is a poster, I'd like to see it brought in here as a poster.
Okay.
I don't mean to sound so negative, though. Overall, I think it's stronger than last week's piece, and I'm pleased with your typography. And I, just like with Giovanni, I look forward to seeing, hopefully, that this is your voice, that you're expressing yourself typographically, and we'll continue to see that.